What's up, everyone? It's your boy Scott. Welcome to the Scott Reports. Today I'm bringing you guys a little something different. I want to talk about something that's been on my mind for a little while. I want to talk about Stranger Things. Stranger Things 2 in particular, because I absolutely love this series. And I can't decide which one I like better. Was it season 1 or season 2? I probably would have to watch them both again to decide, but both of them were equally as good. And I just wanted to take the time out today to, kind of theory craft a little bit, give you guys my thoughts and predictions, or my theories and predictions of what's coming up in season 3, because they left a lot open in this series. And of course, obviously, if you haven't seen Stranger Things season 1 or season 2, this video is about to be full of a whole bunch of spoilers, because I'm going to be talking about things that me personally I would like to see in season 3. Stranger Things has been sweeping the nation and everywhere because it's just such a popular series, and most of that comes from the nostalgia, especially if you're a kid from like the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. Just some of the things that you've seen in this series was so captivating. That might be the ticket for it itself, is the nostalgia that this series has, from the music to the clothes to the food, the snacks, the hairstyles, the video games. I mean, me personally, I am a child of the arcade. Coming up in the 90s, I lived in the arcade. The arcade brought me up, If I wasn't at home watching awesome ass cartoons that we had back then, or outside playing with my friends, playing basketball or what have you, I was at the arcade playing fighting games. So for example, when they were in the arcade, they were playing these games like Dragon's Lair and Galaga and all that. Oh man, the nostalgia and the music in this series, man. It definitely is a product of its time, and the time of this series is so good because, let's face it, with the 2010s, besides technology, yeah, that's pretty rough, because we're not going to get an era like we had in the 80s and 90s, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. But while we're here is to talk about Stranger Things and my thoughts on what we have for the future, because again, they left so much in the open. And I think the first thing that needs to be addressed, or something that probably will get covered in season 3, is that we know that 11 basically leveled up and used her powers to seal away the gate with the Demogorgons and the monsters, demons, whatever you want to call them. But we know that's going to be the central menace as well, because at the end we saw that big goon that we'll keep drawing. We saw him in the Upside Down looming over the school, so that's definitely going to be back. But how is it going to be back? Well, I mean, this movie takes a lot of cues, or this series, not movie, takes a lot of cues from a whole bunch of older things. So naturally, there's going to be some scientists out there just isn't going to be satisfied, whether it be the same scientists that we've seen in season 1 or 2, or maybe it'd be a new sect altogether. They're probably going to get the numbered children, because remember, 11 is number 11, and we know it's at least 11 out there. We were introduced to number 8 in the most controversial episode of Stranger Things season 2, because me personally, I'm on the side of things that I'm not gonna say I didn't like the little episode with 11 and her meeting, 8 and going on this rebellious find herself type of episode. I just think it broke up the flow of the series, because we were heading steam first into, the finale and the end game of the season, only for things to be slowed down for a character development type of deal. I think if they would have did that with 11, it would have been best if they would have did it earlier on in the series, instead of just breaking up the momentum that they had. I mean, that's my problem with it. Not that it was necessarily bad. It was just they should have did that with her a lot earlier. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. I think there's probably more than just 8 out there. I don't remember if it's been confirmed or not. I mean, hell, we thought 11 was probably the last one until we saw 8. So someone's probably going to gather these kids and use their abilities to try to open this gate back up for some reason. And if it's not the scientist, at least my second theory is Billy. Max's brother, played by Darcy Montgomery, who I didn't realize was a Red Ranger in the latest Power Rangers movie. So that's interesting. His character, give or take, he was kind of filler, but at the same time, I feel like he is going to serve a bigger purpose in the series overall. Showing that he, for the most part, he could be redeemable, because the reason why he's an asshole is because his father's an asshole to him. And we've seen, like, many times over, as mentioned, that he just likes to be his own man. He likes to not be told what to do, even though he ain't gonna boss up on his dad. He will boss up on somebody else. So that whole aspect of him always wanting to be in control can leave him pretty vulnerable to possession. I think what they're gonna do is that big monster that we've seen all throughout season 2 is probably going to possess him. And that's how we're gonna get away with like special effects of not always having to have this big goon on the screen, you know, probably possess him similar to how he possessed Will or something of that nature, but maybe he'll be able to use powers. Something that I really thought that we were gonna get in season 2, especially when we saw 8, was more of a nemesis for 11. So if this monster can get in, maybe we'll actually get like some type of X-Men type of power battle between 11 and possibly Billy, who gets possessed. There's definitely going to be this monster. I think that's going to be the catalyst of the final battle. I think the whole purpose of them giving him that little bit of focus too is to show that he's a flawed character. He's a character that could possibly be redeemed. And if you know how these type of movies work, he just seems like the type of person who would get possessed. I mean, even if you go back as far as like It, or like and this is going to be a spoiler for anybody who hasn't like read the book of It, or I don't remember if it was like in the TV version, but like remember the bully got possessed by Pennywise. We might see that same type of situation here in Stranger Things. So yeah, there's that. Another thing that I think should happen is definitely a time skip. This season was good, and it showed the kids actually graduating or doing a ball in middle school. We definitely need to get to high school. The thing about this is Netflix knows how much of a cash cow this series is, so I don't think that they're gonna wait 3 or 4 years to let these kids mature, but they should. I think if they do another season, it should be when they're in high school, well into high school, maybe even senior year. Give them time to grow. Most importantly, give Will time to grow, because we've seen kind of everything shift. And Will in particular, he has had the low end of the stick in season 1 and season 2, because season 1 he was missing. The whole thing was to find him, and we had Mike as the main character primarily in season 1. And season 2 shifted the focus to splitting mostly between Dustin and Lucas. And Will was here, Will was back, but now Will was possessed, so he still really didn't get that much exposure in season 2. I mean, he did, but it was just more along the lines of him just being a victim again. I think they should skip a few years. Again, I don't think Netflix is going to do this because they know they can profit off of this, but they should skip like 3 or 4 years, let these kids get a little bit older, and have Will grow. When he grows up, have him be stronger, have him be ready for this type of thing, similar to like what we've seen in older horror movies, you know, like with Nightmare on Elm Street, like where Nancy much years later she was ready for Freddy because what happened, things like that. And just like, you know, also like with Halloween with Laurie Strode, I'm sorry, not Jamie Strode, with Laurie Strode, like how as the movies went on and on and on, she was more prepared for Michael Myers. We could possibly see the same thing with Will as well, with him growing up and getting tougher, you know, not wanting this thing to take him over anymore, getting past this and being a stronger character, and even taking that central focus of him being the main character, because he hasn't had the spotlight as the lead, and him along with 11 could be the be all the end all for this monster, because if anybody knows the pain of being taken over by that thing, is him. So, you know, with 11 and her powers and her abilities to stop this thing once and for all, I think Will needs to step up too and be the true hero for once. Also, I think it's some beef. It might actually be some beef between Lucas and Dustin, because now you have the triangle that they had with Max. And I know it's cliche, but I kind of also feel that we need a little bit of division in the kids. Like maybe one of the kids start to branch off, and maybe it won't happen for long, but as you get older, you know, friends start wanting to go their own way, do their own things. Maybe seeing a little bit of division between Lucas and Dustin, that might be a nice dynamic for them to throw into the 3rd season as well. Something else that I would like to see, and this is something that's been building since season 1, is, come on, we know what's going to happen. Hopper and Joyce Byers. I mean, Bob, I liked Bob as a character, I really did, but Bob served only as a catalyst to die so Joyce and Hopper can get together. I mean, how many times have we seen them sharing that cigarette in season 2 and talking about the old times? And it's kind of something we were silently rooting for in season 1. So to finally see them get together would be a big thing. Something else that I'm expecting, or I would like to see, is we have to get closure with 11's mom as well, because, you know, this whole mission with her going to find 8, it just seemed kind of odd. I thought she would have went to do something maybe to actually help her mother, and then she ended up going off on this other path and becoming Dark 11, and we know how that went. But she has to get her mom's mind back. I don't think she's that far gone. I think it's something that could be reversed, and hey, it's television, so you can always write something up. I think it would be really good for her to get her mom back and have her mom be part of her life. There's just a lot of things that I have on my mind that I would like to see. And primarily, again, I think the time skip definitely needs to happen in this series, because also, if you think about it, a majority of Stranger Things is about these kids on this adventure. You know, they're just in awe of everything around them, but they can't really do anything themselves because they're still kids. I mean, if you think about it, all of the heavy fighting was done by Steve. Most of the exploration was done by Nancy and Will. So if you take the kids, make them older, now they can embark on more of the adventures themselves, because they'll be old enough to handle themselves a little bit better too. And of course, the best thing that I would like to see is, as we go further and further into the years, is the evolution of gaming, because right now these kids are still in the arcades. This took place in like 84, so I believe probably like a Atari was around by then. But if we can just wait a few more years, we would actually get the evolution and get the Nintendo years. How cool would that be to see in Stranger Things? Because at that point, you know, video gaming was coming from the arcades and bringing kids together to actually play all these games at home. And you know, I don't want to see them go away from the Dungeons and Dragons type of thing or anything like that, but I would love to see these kids playing Nintendo while they're still kids. And I think if they can get them like in their last years of high school, we can definitely get that. Not to say that it wouldn't be entertaining when they're older, because I'm an adult and I still play video games, and a lot of my friends do too. But just to see that spectacle, that awe, that wonder, and to see all that stuff for the first time would be awesome. And of course, the music, the evolution of music, if they can skip past maybe 2 or 3 more years, because I think it took place in 84, so let's say about 87, 88-ish, we can get the Michael Jackson years, we can get the Prince years, we can get, you know, Aerosmith, Van Halen, we can just get more and more rock. We got this really the start of rap. We can start getting rap into Stranger Things, because that started to make its boom in the 80s and things like that too. And I know they're gonna keep going, so if they're going to keep going, then maybe it should go to the 90s, and that would be cool too. But I think it will lose most of its flair if it still wasn't kids at that point, where it's still that little bit of innocence within them. I think if they went all the way to like when they were adults, then this series would have to go on for a long time, because I really would like them to keep the same cast. These kids are phenomenal actors, definitely some of the best child acting I have seen. And yeah, guys, that's just some of my thoughts, theories, and predictions of Stranger Things Season 2. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Definitely let me know in the comments below what you think of this video, as well as some of your theories, some of your thoughts, some of your predictions. What do you want to see? And we know Season 3 is coming. It's just a matter of when it's going to come now. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, guys. If you liked the video, go ahead and drop it a like. If you want to hear more videos like this, definitely let me know too, and I'll see what I can do. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And as I always say, you guys can be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me. And I really appreciate that, so thanks for stopping by. On that note, it's your boy Scott signing out. See you soon.